Welcome back to Six-Sided. We're live. So much to talk about tonight on the podcast. Our Arsenal, now that we sit in second place, and yes, because I'm on loan and I'm loving it, baby. I'm on loan like Marcus Rashford, having the time of my life, but we're in second place. That's going to trigger so many people. Arsenal are in second place, but can they win the league? Ruben Amorim, will he be sacked? Should he be sacked? How is he sacked? What is he sacked? If you don't watch Marvel, you won't get that reference. We're also looking at the back of the game for Arsenal yesterday. Were Newcastle United robbed? Having a big debate on that. Plus, are the Chelsea excuses running out? We want your thoughts. We want your look at questions like what? We'll be taking your views, taking your opinions live on the show today. How are you, gents? You all good? You all well? Happy, healthy?
But I know these two, man, ain't.
I'm still top of the league, mate.
I'm
top of the league.
Yeah,
I'm all right. I'm all right, mate. Don't worry about me.
Don't worry, you put in the pressure soon.
Hands up if you won this weekend.
Winning's overrated.
Winning's overrated. It's true. Honestly, I didn't realize how good winning felt until I went on loan. And then it is just amazing. It's just a season, not even a season loan. They might call me back in January if Ineos make the right decision. So it's one of those ones. And I wonder how many people are actually going to take it seriously.
You're like when David Beckham was just training with Arsenal and there was a picture of him in the training kit.
Exactly. It was all, what's good for the goose is good for the gander and all that malarkey. Loads to go through today. I'm going to start, though, with Chelsea, okay? So, obviously, we saw them this weekend. We'll ask the fictional fact question in a minute. But what's going on, Quest? Because 2 games running, not of the standard, big mistakes defensively, poor substitutions, 5 goals conceded in 2 games, no win in 4, barring the... You beat Lincoln, but I don't think any Chelsea fans taking that too seriously. 1 win in 4 versus proper teams. No wins in 4 since the international break. Break it down. What went wrong at the weekend, mate?
What can you say? You can say mentality. You can say mistakes. It seems like that's the story of the season right now, man. It's just mistakes, man. You know what I mean? But I'm actually not too hurt in the sense of like, I actually think we're probably where we should be right now. And I said, like, everybody called me mad in the summer when I said I would prefer Champions League over the league because I understand right now we're not ready to compete. People call me mad for that. Now you're seeing it live in the flesh, yeah? We're not ready to compete, and I think that's right. Yeah, it should be between Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. Obviously, at the weekend, you've seen the red card. We was in control. If you watch the game, we was actually in control right up onto that goal. All right. I mean, up onto that red card. And as soon as the red card hits, you're playing a team like Brighton. They're playing away from home. They want to take points away from you. They've done what they needed to do. So, yeah, it's a tough one to take because of the mistakes. But other than that, it's like, yeah, honestly, I'm not too bothered, man. Like, this is a team that, bar Palmer, scoring 4 last season, like, we wouldn't have been in the game. So, we won 4-2 at the Bridge last season. So, you know what I mean? Like, we did a madness last year, and that's why we got the result. Same thing against Brentford. I think we've got 1 winning against 6 against them. And I'm not going to lie, a couple of Man United fans were saying, yeah, Chelsea, Man United had a better start to the season. You bucked Brentford, and look what happened. Brentford stuck it on you, man. Yeah? So you see that this is a team that we all thought would be relegation fodder.
I love you, brother. I love you. You're a good guy. But stop these deflections.
It's not deflection.
Stop telling me you ain't bothered.
No, I'm.
We've got more deflections here.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. You lot relax. I'll lie so you guys are happy. I'm really upset. It ruined my weekend. I couldn't go to work today and I called in sick. I actually am not bothered. Genuinely, you know what? You lot know my stance since summer.
I hear you, but I think that's such a cop-out, bro. Because like Chelsea fans, no Chelsea fans should be saying this. Last season, there was a point of the season where you were in the title race. Then you fell off a bit and you ended up still finishing in Champions League position. You should not be happy with what you invested in the summer to be 8th or 9th in the league and be this piss poor this start of the season.
Okay, so
there's no way in hell you should be like not bothered about that.
I didn't want to start
because at the end of the day, You haven't lost. Can I say something? You're sitting there, and you, in my opinion, probably had the easiest start to the Premier League out of any of the big clubs.
Why did we have the easiest start?
What do you mean?
Who's unbeaten in the league right now?
Yeah, but it don't matter who's unbeaten.
No. Now answer the question. Who's
Crystal
unbeaten in the
Palace.
league right now? Thank you.
Crystal Palace.
Okay, so our two best results were against the two teams we should have beat. Facts. Fulham and West Ham. We should be.
And Man United, you should be beating us.
No, bro, don't do this. You should be
Brighton.
beating Crystal Palace.
Brighton,
you should be beating Brighton.
Brighton, we won 4-2 last season. Sanchez cost us 2 goals and Palmer had to score 4 to save us. That's not a team that we batter. We never batter Brighton. We never beat Man United, and we haven't beat you at Old Trafford in 13 years, right? We're on a bad run of form, and we lose after a red card. And listen, I understand everybody wants Chelsea to be really upset, but I told you lot my stance already. I know that it's frustrating because you lot want me to come here and just and punch up my screen and everything, yeah? I can't do it because I understand context. It's like the last 6 losses we've taken, 5 of them, red cards. So this is individual mistakes right now. And actually, to be fair, if you, like I said this like 2 weeks ago, the board, I understand the board could have done a better job. But actually, when we come off the back of the Club World Cup and we'd signed João Pedro, Dilap, we'd got Yusogo in and we got Santos back, we were absolutely buzzing because we knew if we started the season right, we would have the opportunity to be in a title race conversation. Yeah. But then Colwell gets injured, madness. Badiashile gets injured, madness. We already know we're in a sticky position. So that's why I said for me personally, anyway, I don't know about other Chelsea fans. Me personally, it's not touching me. I'm not going to lie to you. The only frustrating thing is that the reason why we're losing is mistakes. That's the only frustrating bit about it. Otherwise, I'm going, what are we, 6th or 7th right now? Yeah, Maresca's second season. We've had some good introductions in the team. Some haven't been great. We're right where I think we should be. And the teams that we've lost to be honest, they absolutely deserve it. Like Brentford is a decent team. Yeah, they changed manager, but they've not changed their mentality. Brighton, we struggled against them last season. We didn't. We got battered after the red card. Same thing against United. United, they stuck it on us.
Let me ask you a question about that. So let's break that game down. Is it not concerning to you that your team that looks so bad 10v11? And what I mean by that is a lot of professional footballers will tell you, a lot of managers will tell you, fans understand it. It's often harder to play against 10 men than it is 11v11. But you're 1-0 up at home advantage, already winning the game. Is it not concerning that you weren't able to shut up shop, kill the spaces, stop Brighton from being able to pass it around by sitting in, being compact and being hard to beat? Because for me, I get it at Old Trafford, 2 or 3 minutes in, crazy. But if you're 50, 60 minutes into the game, you're leading, and from that point onwards, they had lots of openings, lots of opportunities, and carved you apart. Is it not concerning that you can't sit in and you can't be resolute for 30 minutes and see that game out?
I mean, again, like I could be frustrated about it, and I probably would be more frustrated if I am at all, to be honest with you, if we were talking about Drogba, Lampard, John Terry, because these are people that I recognized back then, right? These are elite level players. Right now, we've got like 2 elite level players, 2 max, yeah, and a couple that could reach that level. So when they can't hold it together, for me, I'm going, yeah, but I don't expect anything more. Everything we've done over the last year and a half has been an overachievement. Maresca shouldn't have won 2 titles. We shouldn't have beat PSG, but we did. We shouldn't have finished 4th because we struggled in that winter period and probably should have fallen away. But lucky for us, Newcastle weren't as good, Villa weren't as good, yeah? But we managed to get it done. So for me, that's why I'm like, listen, I could be more frustrated. But when I actually understand the optics of what's going on, we are right where we're supposed to be. Second season. Maresca said it in his press conference today. He's learning.
So on what Quest has said there, I want to ask the fiction or fact question, but I think we can pull it into what's just been said by Quest there. So the fiction or fact question, I'm going to go to Tom first on this. Is fiction or fact? Chelsea struggles aren't down to bad luck. Their squad is massively overrated.
That's a fact. I'm not hearing this whole, Chelsea are where we should be. You're champions of the world as you try to shove down my throat every single day. Champions of the world. should not your fans. I'll say I'll put it that way. Your fans try and shove down my throat that you're champions of the world.
Look.
You are level on points with Leeds United. That's not where champions of the world should be, in my eyes. Champions of the world, Europa Conference League winners. Look at what we're going to be now that we've addressed the problem. Now we're going to be there. I'm not. You shouldn't be 8th. You shouldn't be 8th.
What, after 5 games?
No.
Where should we be?
6.
You should be.
Where should we be?
You should be about 5th, 4th.
No,
I shouldn't have to click the arrow on Google when I look up the Premier League table to find Chelsea after 6 games. I should not be seeing Sunderland and Bournemouth and Palace and Tottenham before I'm seeing Chelsea champions of the world. At the end of the day, that I said it at the time, and they always hate me for saying this. That Club World Cup, you won it. Well done. You didn't have a tough run to win it. You played 2 European teams, and one of them was Benfica.
Yeah.
And also the Brazilian teams are mid-season, by the way. But yeah, okay, I hear what you're saying. That definitely matters. If a team is mid-season,
can I say that?
And you are playing your post-season games, that has to make a difference. But yeah, go on.
I'm just looking at it going.
No, you're being. Sorry, Tom, go on.
No, but it is.
He's been a fraud.
Post-season game, so you're still in your season mode for one. You're still in your season mode for one. But ultimately, we're looking at it and we're going, this Chelsea squad that we're champions of the world, that we're doing all this, and we're now hearing them say, we're where we should be, mid-table at the start of the season.
So you're telling me you're worse than Tottenham? You're telling me you're worse than Tottenham, brother?
I just want to make a reference. I never believe we will ever be worse than Tottenham in a long season. Yeah.
So why are Spurs fourth right now?
Remember, we're sick. It's 6 games in. Like, it's 6 games in. Yeah. Come end of the season, we'll talk. But my point is this.
I understand.
Remember when we didn't get Xavi Simons? Yeah. Everyone said Chelsea have been dunked on. They're finished. Rare, blood. Whatever. How many points are they ahead?
3 points ahead.
3 points ahead. So 6 games in, we're 3 points adrift of Tottenham. No. Just hold on. Where are Man City? Are they above or below Chelsea?
Man City are above you by 2 points.
Above 2 points.
Which they should be.
I understand that, but the points gaps are never going to be too big this early in the season because we all know how bad Manchester United are. We sit in 14th. But again, we are only 4 points off of a Champions League position. But we all know by looking at how performance is, that gap is just going to continue to get. This happened a lot last year. Terry Ten Hag only had you 4 points off the top 4 when he was sacked, and you ended up 30 odd points. But it's poor analysis because there wasn't enough games played to have a 30-point gap 5, 6, 7 games into the season. You have to look at performances. I'm not saying Chelsea can't recover from this. I'm not saying Chelsea can't become a better performer. But I do think when you look at the fixtures you've had, to not win any of your last 3 games and to only have 8 points, 8 goals conceded in that time as well, I think Chelsea fans should be, and I'm calling your bluff, I think you've got to be mildly concerned at the very least. I don't think there can be this element of I'm not worried. And to the fictional fact question, Giuseppe, do you think, and you could put me into this category with Chelsea fans because I really predicted them to be in the title race this year. They could still be, but do you think their squad has maybe been overrated to some degree?
Well, depends who you're talking about, but massively overrated. Like, I'm not going to lie. No, that the best midfield in the world shouldn't be 8th in the league after 6 games. Do you know what I mean? The best attack in the world shouldn't be 8th in the league. The champions of the world shouldn't be 8th in the league. They've overrated themselves. And the fact of the matter is, they've overrated themselves to the point where now they've got to hold it. Because I heard all this commotion about this midfield. Yeah. Now, this midfield has bottled game after game this season so far. I'm not saying you won't get better. I actually do rate on midfield. But what I'm saying is if you look at the games that you've played, you haven't played one game where I'd look at and go, yeah, Chelsea shouldn't win that game. I'll be honest. I swear to God. Crystal Palace, all right, fair enough. You drew with them first game of the season. They've gone on and they've been pretty good. I can give you maybe that one. But West Ham, Fulham, Brentford, United, the way they've been, and then Brighton. I'm sorry, bro. You haven't played people, mate. You haven't played a Newcastle away. You haven't played a Liverpool. You haven't played a Man City. You haven't played an Arsenal. You've not even played a Spurs away. That's a tough game for you. Like, do you know what I mean? You've played games that you should be, and this is why you should be concerned, because you can full well go and lose to Liverpool. Yeah. 50% chance you lose to Liverpool. Then you have Nottingham Forest away, and if they start, they've been piss poor. But
do not include Nottingham Forest. This is Postecoglou. We ignore Nottingham Forest as a football club at the minute.
And then you've got Sunderland who have been playing really well. Yeah. So let's even say you win one of them 3. Yeah. Where are you, bro?
You do realize as well, guys. I want to just make sure we're very clear with this. After the next game, we are almost a fifth of the way. We're almost 20% through the season after the next game. So, like, this is where I'm not saying people should panic at this stage, but this is the point where questions have to start being asked because everything's recoverable from this position. Is this the players though, or is this the manager? Because I did see some Chelsea fans this weekend, Quest, going in on Maresca. He's not a winner. He's making the mistakes. He's the problem here. This squad should be doing a lot better. Because as I say, we are before the next international break, once that comes, after this game, we are about 20%, just over 20% of the way through the season. So when you think about that, if you're not winning it, is this about potentially changing them? Sorry, just under 20%, about 18% of the way through. But I think I don't think you can quite get 20% because when you play the 8th game, that comes in at 21%. So you're basically in and around the 20% mark. Are you at a point where are you thinking about Maresca's job like some other Chelsea fans, or do you think they're maybe going a little over the top?
Way too far over the top. Again, everything is contextual. This is a man who's in his 2nd season of managing a club, and he's managing Chelsea, which is one of the hardest jobs for anybody. First of all, a year ago, he wins 2 trophies and comes 4th. He overachieved. And everybody saying that squad is massively overrated, then okay, well, I also then be honest enough to say that what Chelsea did was an overachievement and we shouldn't have finished where we finished last season, which means if we finish a little bit lower than we did last season, then everything's the right context. So for me, I would never look at Maresca because I'm going, you're doing a madness with the squad that you have. I will say he's got some good pieces in there. I'm not going to disrespect the squad at all because I think João Pedro, quality player. Cheisea is an elite player. I just won't even have that conversation. Cole Palmer is an elite player. And then he's adding decent pieces in there with Esteval, who I don't know if you saw what he was doing to the Brighton players. And I know everybody's still upset about the Saka thing, by the way, but I'm going to stand on that. We're going to see in 2 or 3 seasons. So no, I'm never going to look at Maresca's job right now because it's far too early and it'd be disrespectful. If we get 38 games in end of the season, and we're like, what, 2-3 places off relegation? Then I'm going to start going, yeah, all right, we need to start looking at Maresca, man. We're going to start there looking at Maresca. But for a team that needs...
So you have to be 2 or 3 spots above relegation to look at your manager.
Yes. Because I've seen Graham Potter and Lampard get us 12th, and we moved on since then. Yeah, we moved on and got 6th and then got 4th. So
if you can't go backwards...
Listen. You lot can't go backwards because you lot have been in pain for how many years? You can't go backwards. No. We are rebuilding an entire club from bottom to top. You got to understand what we're doing is different. You might not like it, but it's the truth. You might not want to embrace it, but it's the truth.
Hold on.
So what we're doing is different. First of all, you lot need to focus on chasing them man down there.
Now we are. When Arteta first started, we were building, and we were really building from the bottom to the top. You've spent almost like 2 billion or whatever you've spent.
What was you rebuilding from? Coming 4th every year under Wenger?
No, don't do that.
You're
forgetting Unai Emery. You're forgetting Unai Emery.
Yeah, didn't he get you to a European final?
Let's not.
So what was you rebuilding?
Let's not do this. Man United got to a European final last season.
Yeah, but
that's like asking what Chelsea were rebuilding from because the last season before the owners came and they came 3rd, and the year before that they won the Champions League.
Yeah,
so what were you
shut the club down and started again, and then we had to get players off the
then you can take the same for Arsenal.
Sterling,
when Emery had like 12.
When Arteta can I just say this? Yeah, when Arteta took over, you'd look at Arsenal and you'd say their team was trash. Yeah, Mustafi at the back, Bellerin, Socrates, David Luiz. Yeah, these are the names of the players we had on our team. You have Caicedo, Enzo, you have Palmer, you have João Pedro, you have all these guys. Cucurella, that's apparently the best left back in the league according to a bunch of your fans.
That's fact.
Yeah, that's fact. So you've got the best left back in the league, some of the best midfielders in the league, and then you're happy with being 8th right now. That don't make sense.
I didn't say happy.
But so if you're not happy, then what are you?
I'm indifferent, really. It doesn't bother me either way,
So,
really.
but let me ask you, why are you indifferent? Like, this isn't even trying to catch you. I'm trying to. Why are you indifferent about your team being where it is this early in the season? The performance is being poor. Why are you indifferent about it? What makes you indifferent?
Because I know that we haven't built on what we had enough to be further ahead than where we are right now. As in, if we finish the season 6th to 4th, I think that's about right. Because I think last season we overachieved. So I don't think we've built enough on top of what we had. Yeah, we've added João Pedro. Yeah, we've given us more reinforcements in Usogo and Santos, but they're not necessarily like major improvements on what we already had. Does that make sense? So even having your Cucurella, even having your Palmer, the only real, you could say, improvement, like major improvement on that squad from last season is replacing João Pedro with Jackson, because he's actually converting the chances Jackson would have missed. Yeah. And you might say, okay, Esteval, but Esteval's not even played enough games to say, oh, he's a major improvement on Madueke. Do you get it? Then we've lost our left wing. So all of that is up in the air. So this is why I'm saying I'm pretty indifferent right now, because I'm going 6 games in. There's nothing that I can't really tell you where we're going to finish. Like, it's probably going to be between 7th and 4th. And if we do that and we win a trophy, cool. I'm all right with that. I told you in the summer, league don't mean nothing to me.
So you're just in this space where, like, you don't think you're as good as some other Chelsea fans are making you out to be. So you just feel like you are where you think you are, where you're meant to be. So win one, lose one, draw one, win a couple, lose another. That's just what a team of your level does. Where you are right now is what a team of your quality and level does.
I see how you added the quality there as well. I like, I see. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, valid. Yes, okay. Because coming into the season, did I think we'd lose to Liverpool? Yes. Did I think we'd lose to Arsenal? Yes. Did I think we'd lose to Man City? Yes. So we're still not there. Did I think we'd struggle against Newcastle, Villa? Yes. Did I think that going to Brighton would give us trouble?
Can I say something, bro?
All of these teams are
hold on. You've just said 5 teams. You've just said Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Villa, and Newcastle. You haven't played any of them yet, and you're 8th.
But that doesn't matter.
But
why does it matter? Bro. No, it doesn't matter.
Because you've just said 5 teams that you don't think you can beat or you'll really struggle against. So if you lose them 5 games and you're already 8th right now, you're gonna have it's gonna be a poor season, bro. And I'm talking levels that are like backward. You can't have done what you've done last season and then be okay with being further down this season. It does not make sense, because that means you've got to be angry at the board.
No, because it's a madness. Because what you're talking about is trying to say I should be angry because the way we finished the season should set us up for, and I get that. But at the same time, we're 6 games in. So why would I define how I feel about the club now based on 6 games?
Okay,
the performance.
You haven't got to define. I don't think you've got to define your view. I understand with that. But are you concerned? Are you worried? Do you think you're going to get better? Or do you think it's just going to be a case of win a couple, lose a couple, win a couple, lose a couple all year?
No, we'll improve. It's a long season. I'm sure we'll improve. And like I said, the last couple of games, the last 6 losses we've had, red cards. And then the teams we've drawn to are teams that, to be honest, based on the results we've had against them, we should be drawing. We're in the 2nd season of a proper stable rebuild now. Listen, you might not like it, because what people want is for Chelsea to be, you have to say this, you have to say it. No, it's just, that is just the truth.
I'm hearing champions of the world should be drawing with Brentford, who've got new manager.
No. Now you're being disingenuous.
Bearing in mind, they lost their best. Bearing in mind, Brentford also lost their best player to Man United and lost their captain to Arsenal, and lost their manager, their long-term manager,
and lost another striker to Newcastle.
But losing players doesn't necessarily mean that you lose the mentality. We know that, because Man City lost De Bruyne and they're still doing okay, aren't they? They're not doing as good as they were. Well, in previous season,
than last year, I suppose. Yeah, no, I hear.
You see what I'm saying? So
Evan here says you spent $1 billion and you're not bothered. Are you mad?
We didn't spend $1 billion in the summer though, so I don't even know why we're talking about billions again. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I would be up. To be honest, if I would say that, it'd be like also being a Liverpool fan and being like, how much money did we spend this season and we're still losing to Crystal Palace? But I wouldn't say that because I understand that Liverpool, one of their bogey teams is Palace. So if you lose that game, it sometimes is football.
But they did have 100% record before that.
Mm-hmm. I am many
in FA
Liverpool
Cup,
fans are disappointed.
FA Cup, League Cup, they've been sticking it on people. I mean, Community Shield, sorry, they've been sticking it on people. So this, I mean, some of these things are football. Like.
Okay. S. Hyder here says that if it's harder to play against 10, start with 10. See, what you're doing there is being intellectually dishonest. Nobody wants to start with 10.
I like that.
I see, sometimes in life, I feel one of my weaknesses, my dad gave me this feedback because he watched my videos, sometimes tell you over-explain. I'm like, Dad, you don't understand. You almost feel forced into doing it on YouTube because you say things like fixed. And for the first time ever in my life, I heard like 4 or 5 different definitions of what fixed meant. And I'm talking about the context of fixing one of the biggest clubs in the world, when everyone would look at it and go, yes, they are completely fixed, ready for action, and working at an optimum level. I never thought I'd ever see the day where there were different versions of the word fixed. So you end up having to explain yourself a lot. And to that point, when someone says it's often harder to play against 10 men and 11, that often doesn't need to be explained, but you're sort of forcing my hand here. So maybe you weren't taught this as a child. In relation to breaking a team down and scoring against them can become harder when it is 10 versus 11, because that 10 often acts like a team sits, like when a team sits in a very, very low block. So Burnley versus Liverpool, they had 10 men behind the ball for the entirety of the game. They didn't have an outlet because everybody was back. So when you get a man sent off, if you sacrifice an outlet and just all sit back behind the ball and you sit back and you defend that deep, it's essentially like playing those low block teams. You just don't have an outlet. When you've got better defenders in those teams, better midfielders in those teams, generally better fitness and better physicality, there is a very good train of thought that suggests you should be able to make it harder for a Brighton to now play through you, because you're not committing as many men forward, you're not leaving as much space in behind, you're not leaving as many gaps and spaces in between the lines for the football to be played. Again, I appreciate the super chat, I respect it a lot, but I never in my life thought I would ever have to explain that on the air. I thought it was one of those parts of football. I thought people understood that in the same way that I don't need to explain to anyone tuning in that if you hold your breath for an hour, you'll probably die. I just thought it was bog standard 5-year-old and above knowledge of the game. I'm sorry,
Terry,
my bro.
bearing in mind as well, like, I've played a lot of football. I've played a lot of football. You also dig in mentally when your dad's 10 men. Players do that extra bit, dig in a bit more to make it up for the team. You know, so there's that part of it all as well.
Derek here says, it's been a long time since I've watched you live. I'm actually starting to get sick and tired of Man United. I think we should... we'll come back to that a bit later, my friend, when we're talking United. Bro hated on Krasnov, but he'd be Chelsea's best centre-back. What's his name, isn't it? The young lad, Chelsea lad.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned Kusanov, to be fair. I don't know if I
hope we ain't confusing you with somebody else.
David, come with your receipts, man.
Is that not the Man City guy? No,
he thinks you're Kojo.
Close, but no cigar, brother.
No. Best centre back you employ, like I will say this, and I'll say it now. I mean, Chelsea centre backs are nowhere near the standard. Colwell maybe, but he's out injured. The goalkeeper as well. The whole lot is just it's a big weakness.
Who are your centre backs for the weekend, by the way?
It'll probably be Joao Hato and Joshua Temple. Nah, because Badiashile injured. Yeah.
Injured again.
Yeah. No, he. I don't think he's come back.
I wouldn't.
Weren't he on the pitch the other day? No. Why do I think he was on the pitch the other day?
I don't know. If he was, I ain't seen him.
My brain just might have had a moment.
Yeah.
Maybe I watched some highlights back from something else.
Now, you might be right. No, he might have got minutes the other day. Okay. I didn't know if he was fit enough to start. That's why I'm saying.
No, you could be right. But you know, you think you've seen someone, and I'm like, maybe my head's gone. Did he come on?
Right,
yes, he did come on. He came on at the 79th minute, right? Yeah, he did come on.
Oh, so he'll play.
I don't know. I don't think he's fit. I don't think he's fit enough to do like a full. Do you get it? So I don't know.
I hear you. Tom's been arrogant since Liverpool won last year.
Crazy.
I mean, if
By the
there's
way,
ever a moment where I can be arrogant as a football fan, it's when my team wins the league.
I can't wait for the Jose just spoke about his return to Chelsea. He says, I am feeling home. I already played with Spurs, United, and Inter at the Bridge, but I am not a blue now. I'm red, and I want to win. I mean, it would just be. Can you imagine Jose, the greatest manager in the history of a football club, comes back?
Yeah, we're losing that game.
Is that tomorrow or Wednesday?
Tomorrow.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm looking forward to that one.
Hold on. So you're saying you'll draw with Brentford, lose to United, lose to Brighton, lose to Bayern, lose to Benfica, lose to Liverpool, all in that run, and you still won't be bothered.
No, because I'm rational enough to understand we're in a bad moment right now. So why would I?
This is apathy, bruv. This is apathy. This is
no, it's not. It's just rational.
This is like me accepting that I was never going to be an NBA player because I was 5'10". Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones.
We're in a bad moment right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost.
By the way, I actually think you get. I think you actually get something out of Liverpool.
I don't think we do.
No, I think you will. Wayne here says the same midfield that not one single Arsenal player could get into. A lot of talking. I've noticed a Chelsea fan. This wasn't Quest, but a lot of the Chelsea fans that did all that talking earlier on in this, they barely come on the terrace now. They're very busy. I always see them pop up elsewhere, but they're too busy to come on and address their crimes. They're scared.
Chez still ain't put his predictions in, and I know why he never put his predictions in. Because
Giuseppe, I think I'm waiting for predictions off him from like a year ago.
Yeah, Chez's predictions don't count anymore. Like the art of it is, look, we all get things right. I spoke about it earlier with Man United. Yeah, I had a lot of stick the last 24 hours, as you guys saw in the group chat. People, putting out death wishes to my children over my Man United opinions. But you put your opinions out. My view was give the manager a preseason, give him some signings, and let's see if he can turn it around. I was very hopeful, and I had some faith. He would do it, and I was wrong. You hold your hands up and you move on from it. But you can't just not turn your camera on for a few weeks and hide and, I'm not going to do predictions anymore because I might get a bit of banter. You got to crack on with it, mate. You got to crack on with it. Performance-wise, Liverpool should not be in the top 4 then.
You're probably not wrong, but then that comes down to the other side of the game where it is, can you still get the results when your performances aren't there? Because that shows the sign of a team with the mentality and a team with the quality. And ultimately, Chelsea haven't done either.
Well, I mean, you've also got a team where a lot of your players have been together for a number of years. So also that also helps. But I hear you.
I mean, we've had a big overhaul this summer.
A big overhaul is a bit of a stretch, bro. Big overhaul.
We signed like 7 new players and sold 9.
You still got your core, though. That's the thing. Your core is still the same. Like our core's been together for 2 years. You guys have been together for like 3, 4, 5 years. You think, yeah. Your core, your main players now. Palmer's been there 2 years, right? Yeah, 2 years. Caicedo 2.5. Yeah. Enzo 3.5. And Colwell like 2, 3 at a push. Colwell's been at your club since the academy. No, because he wasn't playing. Like he came through in the last 2.5 years.
Hold on,
he was at Brighton.
I'm not having that. Reece James, captain, isn't part of your core.
Reece James,
I didn't say he wasn't, but Reece James, core,
Cucurella has been there about 3.5 years as well, right? Yeah. Maybe 4 years, maybe 4.
Reece James, Fairs, I'll give you because he was actually starting in our last Champions League final. So Fairs, bar that, nobody's left. If you look at the last time Liverpool were in a Champions League final, how many of those players are still at the club now? 4 or 5.
Still out or starting?
Still at the club and starting. Okay. You probably got 4 starters still, or 3.
Yeah, but whose fault is this that you always sell?
No, but we're not talking about fault. So let's just focus on what's true and what's not true. We're talking about if they're still there or not.
We got 4.
Yeah, 4. So I'm saying, and that's not a disrespect.
Do you know what I would love just for the timeline, purely for the timeline? Do you know what I'd love to see? Last year you had a lot of the Chelsea fans who hated Poch. Every time they won a game that Poch didn't, or every stage of the season where they had more points than Poch's team, they'd tweet about it saying we were right to sack him. Wouldn't it be hilarious if you finished this season on less points than what Poch got in his first season? There'd be something almost poetic about that. There really would be. But JJ, to your super chat, I think that there's a large element of truth. Liverpool haven't had the greatest of performances so far this season, but they have won 5 of their 6 games. The question is, and I suppose it's this: do you think Liverpool are going to get better and get to title winning level? Do you think Chelsea are going to get better and get to title winning level, or top 4 qualification level. It's just answering that question and then explaining why you think that. That's the crux of these conversations that we're having it on the panel, but people never want to get to. Everything's quite superficial and surface level around. Yeah, but they ain't been good. Yeah, but I think Liverpool will get good. Do I think Chelsea will get better? I do think they'll get better. And we'll break down why. That's why we do podcasts. Guy with the white hat, that's Quest. I'm going to start a GoFundMe for glasses for you. You're blind to the situation.
Thank you, Evan, man. You're a good guy. I've actually got 20/20 vision and the hat is grey. So if you want to save some of that money for yourself, bro, go ahead, man. But I appreciate your super chat, bro. You're a nice guy, man. I can see that. That's why you donated, bro. God bless you and hope you have a wonderful day, man. I hear him, though. That's actually nice.
It is, but he got the colour of the hat wrong.
Yeah, that's an L.
Great, bro.
Every other club would be expected to challenge spending as much as Chelsea has. All I hear is banter avoidance.
Now, you know what? Do you know what? Yeah, usually I actually go back about that. But you know what? I hear it. I hear it. Fair enough. I actually think fair enough. I like what Arsenal and Liverpool are doing. So I'm not even going to, like, you know what I mean? Try to dodge that one. And over the time period, yes, they have spent less. I do think there are different contexts to it, but I will respect that what both of their clubs have done with the money they have spent has been phenomenal. So I would never take that away from their clubs because that would be disingenuous. So
can I ask a potentially controversial question? And I want to, you just said it about you have to explain things before you do them. I don't necessarily think this. Actually, I've totally lost my train of thought. I can't remember what my question was going to. You ever done that where you totally forgot what you were going to say?
Yeah.
What was? Oh, it was a really. No, it wasn't overrated. It wasn't. This was it. I got it back. Right. Okay. So, do you to this point of that super chat? I see a lot of rivals go. Why did Chelsea get very little pressure from the media, even themselves, and even rival fans after what they've spent, etc.? Is it possible that Chelsea get less attention after spending so much and not being in title races, etc., because they're just not as big as the Liverpools, the Man Uniteds, and the Arsenals? Is that potentially the reason why?
I don't think so. I think the reason is, well, you could argue that because the point I'm going to make could be that reason, but I think it's because Arsenal haven't won anything and Man United are appalling. So like they get all the stick, right? So there's almost not enough left to give to Chelsea.
Yeah. Mama is exhausted herself beating these two kids. She can't get to the third one.
Third one's like the little brother that gets away with it, even though he was the one who started it all.
Mama's arm's tired from the switch. The switch is, I can't do it no more. Anyone ever get a switch when they were a kid? Anyone ever get a switch? Hit with a switch. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
Genuinely,
good old days.
But genuinely, yeah, the amount of criticism that certain teams get compared to others is the reason why people always say this or that. But they should be on more criticism with the money they spent because everyone's always talking about how much money, for example, Arteta spent. Always going, Arteta spent this amount, he hasn't done this or done that. But they don't get it as a club. Now, don't tell me this process started with Maresca because that's bullcrap. This started when Bowley took over and you started signing these players. You can't look because, for example, if Arteta gets sacked and we bring in Luis Enrique, that's not a new thing. That's continuation of what we're currently doing, right? So you can't say that it's only a 2-year project. You should be getting more stick. You don't. No,
I don't think we should actually. I would disagree with you because I think it's very easy to think we don't get stick. But I think if you do think that, you just don't watch TV because otherwise you would see Carragher doing his best to hop, skip, and jump and dunk on Chelsea every single week. I mean, whether he's on Sky Sports, whether he's writing a column, whether he's on CBS, this guy is opening his mouth and yapping about Chelsea ever since Zola twisted him up on the left-hand side. But I get it. Now, I'd be mad too if that was my career. Do you know what I mean? But no, I actually think we get a lot of stick. I actually think we do get a lot of stick. I think every season, whether we win or lose, the narrative is, yeah, but are Chelsea good enough? And I feel like that's been the case since I was a kid. And I think that's why you have people like Jose Mourinho who's always consistently come out and said the media doesn't like Chelsea. Because I would agree with you that in terms of the standard in terms of like title talk, are Chelsea cooked for that more often? Nah, we're not cooked as often for that. And I actually would say, I think that's more to do because generally the consensus is people don't think Chelsea can win it. So we're not in that. And I do think with that context, it has been a little bit unfair at times to Arsenal because they've only just arrived at this place in the last 2 to 3 years. So fair enough. But I do think Chelsea get like an unduly amount of criticism. I mean, look at even that Josh King thing the other day. The PGMO apologizing. And then you've got handballs, you've got people punching people in the face, you've got penalties that should have been given just the other day in the Newcastle game, and no one's saying nothing. And we're seeing these decisions. Look at the Man United one against who was it? Brentford. Who is it? Brentford. A man drags man back on the line, no pen, no explanation.
We got a pen. We didn't get the red card.
The red. The red. Yeah.
Listen, the thing is though, you should be getting as much, if not more, stick, in my opinion, than Manchester United, right? Because no one ever wants to look at context. Manchester United are 1 point behind you, but two of their losses have come to Arsenal and Man City. Yeah, you haven't played people on that level yet, bro. You haven't played.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
No, but hold on. Bearing in mind the money you've spent over the past couple of years, bearing in mind how piss poor Man United were last year, bearing in mind, that you should be below them. Because if you want to talk about these decisions, the only reason you got a point, against Crystal Palace, was because some rule about the player in the wall when Eze scored the free kick. You shouldn't even have won that game, drilled that game.
And look how the pundits ran with that. That's the point we're making. Look at how the pundits ran with that.
You definitely have. I think what can also happen. Remember, I was asking a question rather than giving an opinion. Chelsea fans are generally quite brainy, West Londoners. You know what I mean? Maybe hopefully they understand it. They definitely have had some stick. I think we always feel that our clubs always get the rough end no matter what's going on. But viewers, listen, give us your views, give us your opinions, give us your comments below, please. And please get that like button hit if you haven't done so already. Next topic, we're going to go straight into a fiction or fact question here. But fiction or fact, Giuseppe? Newcastle were robbed against Arsenal. Gabriel should have been sent off and it could have changed the game.
I hadn't seen that.
No,
you haven't seen this.
That still image for one, makes it look a lot worse than it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the video makes a borderline punch in the face look better.
No, for me that's a push, and then what's happened is as he's pushed him, it's sort of like gone up and he's hit him in the face. Look, you can say he should have maybe been sent off. I have no sympathy for these men. Obviously, if you want to say it should be sent off, Newcastle fans that are saying that every time we play them, someone should be sent off for them. But like, I don't know. For me, that sort of stuff shouldn't be a sending off. Because for me, in my opinion, and this is general down the thing, if that's a sending off, then when that defender was groping Gyökeres in the face and grabbing up.
Oh my,
that's how I don't even treat my missus like that when we're in the bedroom, mate. The way he had his hands all over Gyökeres' face. I
can't play the video because we get copyright strike. But what we can do, let me just skip to it, right? So we can do it in slow motion. It should be okay, right? So let me just skip to here. So he does go to push him, as you can see.
And his hand slips up where the guy is running.
Come on, Giuseppe.
No, it does. Bro.
But Giuseppe,
where's the ball? Is he clenching there?
He is. Look, he's trying to grab him up.
Whoa.
That's a red. Look, and there's no ball, you know.
Watch it again, watch it.
I don't think it really hits him, like punches him square in the face either. I don't think it has. Like, you've got to also realise that he's lifting up Gabriel's arm with his arm. Like, if you actually look at it...
He's punching himself in the face?
What are you talking about? What I'm saying is, where his arm... Gabriel's...
Don't hit me! Don't hit me!
No, if you go back to that clip, and you look at his Gabriel's arm, and then you see how he lifts his shoulder and arm up, lifts his to the face.
Yes, the man punching him off him.
But all right, you don't get what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is the Newcastle guy, and I'm not saying him lifting his arm up is lifting Gabriel's arm because Gabriel's arm is on his arm. Do you know what I mean? it is what it is. You can tell he should have been sent off, but then to say they got robbed for that, you can't say that because like the butterfly effect is a real thing, right? Now we should have had a penalty, Stonewall penalty, before this incident. So if you want to talk about being robbed, we got robbed that penalty. The game's completely different if that's given. There was a few calls that were dodgy, in this game that you could argue. So everyone's talking about the handball. It's not a handball. It touched Gabriel's leg. Rules are if it deflects off the player and then hits his arm,
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, if it touches it, it touched his leg. But what we also don't, the thing is, it's the picture looks crazy. Like
the video's not much better. The video's not much better.
AI's edited this.
But then you want to then go and no one wants to talk about when the ball hit the hand of Bruno Guimaraes when we took a shot later in the game and it hits him
was a pen.
on the arm. Yeah. That didn't even get looked at. So like this stuff about them getting robbed is all just people that are angry because they wanted us to lose. They wanted us to drop points so bad. And do you know what it is? People, in the great words of Terry, after that result, a lot of people are scared now. Yeah. And they don't want to admit it, but they're actually worried because they're actually looking at it and saying, you know what? Arsenal are 2 points off the top of the league and they've had a bloody hard start to this season. We've played Liverpool away. We've played Man United away. We've played Newcastle away. We've played Man City. And we're 2 points off the top. We've got to run now. I'm not saying we're going to win the league. I've predicted Liverpool to win the league. But what I'm saying is people are thinking, crap, Liverpool last season, not once did Arsenal capitalise on Liverpool dropping points. Now, all of a sudden, this season, for you guys, it's going to even be harder. Because now, going into that Chelsea game, if we do our job before your game and we beat West Ham, you're going into that game with pressure that you didn't have last season at any part.
Pressure 7 games into the season.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that because
you can't play it down, Tom. You can't play it down. Your manager was fuming at the weekend because you lost those points. So yes, it may not be pressure like it's the last day of the season, but let's not act like every point this season is not going to matter massively, Tom. Come on, don't be disingenuous.
I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm just not going to be sitting there on game week 6 going, fuck, we're second. Oh, no.
No. Yeah, of course. I'm not saying that.
No. By the way, Giuseppe, get on to it.
Because I agree. Like, I won't break it down after our results.
Take the leash off. Go for it.
Because I think that people was like overdoing Arsenal's start to the season. I really do. Like, because if I put us two next to each other in the start of the season, I'd argue that I'd probably say we're equal. You're above us by 2 points, but I'd argue that we've played you at your ground and you haven't played us at ours. So I'd say if you say who's had the better start of the season, I think it's pretty equal between us two. But just because we've played the game we lost was you away and you still have to play us at ours. So if we should beat you at our ground, then we're above you. But anyway, you're above us in the league. So points-wise and that, you've had a better start. But due to the games we've had, I believe it's equal.
I mean, we've not had an easy start.
You've not had an easy start, but Arsenal are notoriously super bad at Manchester away. United, really bad in that game. Never win. We've won 3 in 18. Against you at Anfield. When was the last time we beat you there? So that's one of our harder games. We lost that. Fair enough. Newcastle away. The last 3 times we've played there, we've lost. The last 2 times in the league we played there, we haven't even scored, and we won. So I'm looking at it and saying these games that every other year we don't get 3 points from, we got 3 points from at the start of the season. I agree. You've not had an easy start. I'm not talking like your Chelsea or Tottenham with the starts that they've had. But that's what I'm saying. I believe that we've had the hardest start in the Premier League out of the people battling. Man United have had a pretty tough start as well, but they're crap. Yeah. But for me, yeah, so for me, that game, Newcastle, back to that point, they didn't get robbed. Yeah, the game is what it is. The referees screwed us first. So if you want to say anyone got robbed, I think we got robbed. Because the only one of them that I look at and there's no question marks to is the penalty that we got. There's no question marks to that. That is a penalty. Yeah. And furthermore, if you want to say that it might not be a penalty, it's not a clear and obvious error. I said if the referee didn't give that and VAR didn't overturn it, there's a part of me, I'll still be fuming, but there's a part of me that's saying, okay, he did slightly touch the ball. I get why VAR didn't get involved. But the fact that the referee gave it and VAR, and then the referee goes to the monitor for like 5 minutes.
So this is the one thing I say about it. There's a super chat here that says, I know Terry is going to defend this, but hands in someone's face is a red card by the rule. And I agree with you. The issue that we have is we keep debating not what the rules are per se, but we keep debating what we all think about these. I think it is. I think it's not. We have to look at the precedents that have been set. And it's an ironic element is that Bruno Guimaraes 2 seasons ago in the same fixture ran past Jorginho and kind of didn't actually punch him or elbow him, but kind of forearm smashed him. We've seen quite a lot of. We've seen Van Dijk. I can't say this guy's name. Ben Ruberim. We've seen Van Dijk. I would say twice, but definitely once. Smash players in the face with his shoulder, runs past them and then hits them with his shoulder. Now that isn't a raised hand, but we all know what he's doing because we've played the game as an example. My question is, why is it sometimes again? Didn't Anthony Gordon get a red card last year for raising his hand? I think he hit someone.
Basically slapped someone in the face.
Yeah, but he slapped someone in the face. So when you punch or you slap someone, you get red cards. Where I'm not defending the decision because I think they should all be red cards, but we also ask for consistency. So it isn't about whether I think it's a red or it's a not. I've almost gone away from trying to. I want to pull myself away from. Do I think things are fouls or not? And what is the general decision that the PG, MOL, VAR referees give? Because we could all sit here and argue for days around whether it's a good or a bad rule. What we really should be holding the referees to account on is, what do you typically do in these scenarios? So the penalty yesterday is a great example. João Pedro last year, Brighton Arsenal, heads the ball. Saliba goes in with his head, gets a touch on the ball, doesn't win it or clear it away from Pedro. Pedro's probably going to run through him and get onto it. His head follows through and headbutts him. That sounds a little bit aggressive, but it was an accident. Foul given. Rob Sanchez, again, Man United versus Chelsea just last week. And Mbeumo gets there first, puts the ball past him. As the ball's going past him, the leg that he's trying to win the ball with, he gets a touch on the ball. But the ball's running into the ball does deviate ever so slightly, but not so much that Mbeumo's not going to run onto it and tap it into the back of the net. Therefore, the contact from the goalkeeper is a foul. Had Sanchez did the same thing, identical, but he got more of a touch that sent the ball off in another direction where Mbeumo couldn't get onto it, it's not a foul anymore. This weekend, the penalty. Yes, there's a touch that takes the ball slightly wider, but Gyökeres is going to get there and have a chance to shoot from, yes, a side angle, but shoot at an open net. For me, the touch doesn't matter. The Premier League the PGMOL have spoken about this, that just because there's a touch doesn't mean it isn't a foul. Do you win possession or do you dispossess the attacking team from the ball? They've made that very clear. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether me, Quest, Giuseppe, Tom think it is or isn't a foul. What's the precedent that's been set? They've set a precedent when you look at the times that Van Dijk had run past someone and hit him with the shoulder. They've set a precedent when Bruno Guimaraes sort of hit someone. It's weird because these things actually look more for me, these things are all far more dangerous than a slap in the face. Like, you get someone with it, you give someone a little slap in the face, you shouldn't do it, but no one's getting hurt through doing that. These things can be quite dangerous. But the precedent's been set, and that's my issue when it comes to these things. And this is what you always then hear is, what is this mental gymnastics? Mistakes in other games shouldn't dictate the overall of law. But this is not it. You're missing the point completely. There is no mental gymnastics going on. My agenda when it comes to these refereeing decisions is about holding the PGMOL to account. They have made a clear precedent that the Gabriel moments, the Van Dijk moments, the Bruno Guimaraes moments, far more of these are not red cards than are red cards. So therefore, it doesn't matter whether I think it is or it isn't. There is no mental gymnastics because I've said I think they should all be red cards. That's my answer. But my opinion and your opinion on whether it should or shouldn't be is irrelevant. What we should be focusing on is how are these decisions normally given. The same with the handball. The handball on Gabriel Magalhaes. If it deflects and then hits the arm, it isn't a penalty. That's the law, and they are very consistent with that. Very consistent with it. So therefore, they got that decision right based on the consistency of decisions that are being given. Because the thing that seems to upset everybody more than anything, I'm told, is the inconsistencies. But it does appear that when Arsenal benefit from something, people forget about the consistency or inconsistency of a decision and focus on whether they think it's a red card or not. And for me, that's the issue here. Last year, when Declan Rice was sent off, people went, that's the rules, though, delay the restart. The argument was, well, how many other people are going to get booked for that? And it barely happened again. Therefore, the argument wasn't whether it was the law or not. It's the consistency of it being applied. So, yes, to your point, whether they're mistakes before or new precedents that have been set, we have to focus on the past decisions to decide whether or not this was a mistake or not our own personal subjective view. We have to look at the facts and be more objective about these things, my friend. So I hope that answered your question thoroughly.
And all the people that
I think Gabriel should have been sent off.
All right, so do you do you think that the Newcastle defender should have also been sent off?
He couldn't have complained if he was, but I do think the situations are slightly different in the case of the Newcastle defender's eyes are always on the ball.
They're battling.
I'm sorry.
Gabriel's going in with the intent to stop Voldemort.
Can I say something? Yeah. I'm not having that because I could stand next to Terry looking straight dead on at the bus coming towards us and punch him in the face. I don't have to be looking at this guy.
That's not what the Newcastle defender done.
But what the Newcastle defender done was put his hand all over his face and grabbed him and then dragged his face to the floor.
Definitely a foul.
If you want to see
100% a foul, but it doesn't fall under
definitely a foul, and I'd give a booking as well.
Yeah. All right, cool.
And by the way, Gabriel's was off ball.
I think if one of them's a red card, they're both red cards.
Nah, it's different because the context is that ball's coming in and they're tussling for the ball, and the Newcastle defender's done far too much. Fairs. That's a booking and it's a foul, and you move on. So the Gabriel one, is off the ball. Bro, he's gone and sort him out like a heat seeker missile and put his hands in his face. Of course it means something. If it's an off-the-ball action, that means the intent is there.
So no, because if you're running up, going to get a ball, and as you're going to get it, you elbow the guy in the head. Yeah, that's not you're looking at the ball, you're going for the ball. You've elbowed him. You've gone in and you've elbowed him in the head.
But Giuseppe, do you agree there's a difference if we're challenging for a header and the entire time my eyes on the ball, I jump up, put my arms out to get the lift and I elbow you, compared to we're both on the ground, we're waiting, I'm looking at you, jump up, elbow out, you're on the floor, I win the header. I've done the exact same thing, but the fact I'm looking compared to not changes the entire complexion of it.
But that's the complexion of because people have got to go off face value. But I can tell you now, 9 times out of 10, that player knows they're about to elbow the guy in the face and they're still looking forward because bro. I've played football. You know that the guy's there. You know what you're doing. I get what you're saying. I do agree because I know that you got to give benefit of the doubt sometimes to players, etc. I hear that, right? Virgil van Dijk weren't looking, at Gordon when he shoulder barged him in the face that game, that is a red card.
I don't think he was.
But no, he most certainly did, and this is why I say I suppose the issue is this: it's proving the intent. When you look at someone in the face and you slap them, it's obvious what you've done. If you're in an argument and you put your forehead into somebody, it's an obvious thing. Those things always get red cards, and I can't remember the last time one of those incidents didn't get one. But these kind of off the ball. Are they pushes? Are they shoulder slabs? Are they forearm smashes? Are they clotheslines? Those things are a little bit more ambiguous. Go through the last 3 or 4 years and look, especially the big games. They've invariably not sent people off for these things. So again, I'm not saying I agree with that decision from the PGMOL, but I want them to be consistent within that decision making. You can't not send Gabriel off for it. If this weekend a West Ham player does the same thing to an Arsenal player and sees a red card, I will be calling out that. Not because I think it is or it isn't a red card. I think it is, but you're not being consistent. When Saliba was sent off last year, okay, this is the irony. So think back to what was said after the Man United game, the no red card. They said that the foul on Mbeumo wasn't a red card because Mbeumo didn't have control of the ball. Then how did you send off Saliba last year for the ball knocked over for Evan Nilsson? He didn't get to the ball yet. He wasn't in control of it. This is the problem. It isn't. I don't care what the law is to a certain degree. I care about being upheld consistently. If me, Tom, Quest, and Giuseppe all break the same law, still the same amount of money, whatever it may be, we should all get the same punishment if our criminal records are the same and everything else, right? You know, if I've been doing up crime my whole life, I'm probably going to get a longer sentence. But you get my point. In theory, we should all get the same punishment. If it was like, no, we're gonna make it worse for Tom because Tom's a Scouser and we're gonna give him extra, that's when the controversy comes in. So for me, if this weekend an identical situation happens and Bowen pushes an Arsenal player kind of like that, does clench his fist a bit and catches him in the face, if they give that as a red card and it's the same, I'll call that out as an injustice because they're not being consistent in their decision making. You know, the same as if this weekend there's another Dogso moment and the player hasn't got control of the ball first and they give it, then I'm going to do my nut because you've gone against your own wording straight away. And I think that's what we have to do as football fans. We've got to stop fighting so much in the subjectivity element and look at, well, what have the PGMOL said and hold them to that account. Because we could debate till the cows come home whether we think it is or it isn't. It's almost getting to a point where that's irrelevant because we're kind of missing the crux of the debate, which is they're inconsistent with their own decision making. That's what I'm more focused on, to be honest with you.
I think as well, when you look at it from an Arsenal standpoint, I can speak about many occasions where similar things have happened. And there was the choke on last season on Havertz against Wolves. There was, by the way, the Haaland throwing the ball at the back of Gabriel's head after they equalised against us. Which, by the way, I don't mind this sort of thing. I didn't say that should be a red card. I'm saying this thing. Bearing in mind the thing that people want, Saliba, don't wish for something and then regret it after. That red card, if Gabriel gets that red card, I tell you what, every other game someone gets sent off on a corner. Because so many times in a corner, this sort of stuff happens. He didn't use excess force on this guy. This is what I mean. It's like this. I get what you're saying. I hear it, the way he's pushed him and that, and he got frustrated, and it was a stupid thing to even do, to even give someone the full process to maybe send you off. But there's levels to it that he didn't do it like that. The corners, this happens to players all the time in corners. Watch corners all the time. The amount of guys that are catching little strays to the face and that, when people are pushing at each other and that, it happens, you know? So I just generally don't think it's a red card. Yeah. Bearing in mind, you won't see me say another one of these is a red card on this show or in any show this season. You get what I mean? I won't sit here if someone does that to Arsenal and say it's a red card and he should have been red carded.
Yeah,
you can clip it. You can clip it. Terry remembers. He's got good memory.
I just struggle to see how it's not a red card. I just think I don't think he's meant to connect to the face, but he's connected with the face. For me, it falls under five.
If you don't think, again, if you don't think he's meant to do that, then it makes it not a red card because it isn't violent conduct then.
Yeah, no, but do you remember the Chelsea-Newcastle game back in the last season, what Jackson got red carded for? He jumps up in the air, he's trying to throw his arm out to block the other guy, but because the guy's lower than him, he catches him, he gets a straight red. And everyone in the media was saying how stupid Jackson was and how it was the right decision. So this is why I get what Tom is saying in the sense of like, I think you're right in the sense of being like, you want them to be consistent with these decisions because when you don't, it causes issues. And you're right. If next week it happens to Arsenal, it's going to be uproar. But if it's the right decision, it's still the right decision. So they shouldn't not make the right decision next week. No,
I agree with you. But I feel like it goes more in the way of Gabriel and Van Dijk and Bruno G than it does the other way. And the difference,
I thought the Bruno G one got confirmed to be like a mistake at the time, though.
No, I think Dermot. I think what you got from the likes of Dermot Gallagher was always the same thing, which was
did we actually listen to it?
But the wording you normally get is, "Oh, he was a lucky boy." You don't really get it. It was wrong. You get it. He was a lucky boy. I hear your point, but I feel the elbow that you're talking about is very similar to the headbutt and the slap. It's a very clear. It was so clear, if that makes sense. The same if Gabriel, by the way, if the motion is that. And it's a punch. There's no messing around. But because the motion starts with a push, kind of goes into one. Like Bruno Guimaraes, when you actually watch he's as clever. He starts off like he's trying to get his shoulder and body in front of the player to shield, and then it turns into a bit of a smash, and it makes it harder. When they're not clean, they always seem to not give them as reds.
I just have to double check. Howard Webb, that stupid show he does with Michael Owen. Howard Webb did do one after that Bruno Guimaraes incident and say it should have been a red card and it was a mistake.
Well, that's great that you said that then why didn't Van Dijk get sent off for shoulder smashing someone? I mean, the inconsistencies are there. So they seem to give. Having said that, Howard Webb also said that it doesn't matter if a goalkeeper makes slight bit of contact on a penalty decision if the attacker is going to maintain possession, and they've gone and made that mistake again. So we know they do that. And
this guy told me
I want to say very quickly because I want to move on. Guys, we're debating these things. You can call it mental gymnastics if you want, but that doesn't address anybody's point. You can disagree with me. That's fair. You can disagree with Tom. That's fair. This goes on both directions because I've seen people agreeing with me and agreeing with Tom, but both sides are going mental gymnastics. Saying mental gymnastics is not an argument. Saying mental gymnastics is borderline an ad hominem attack. Come with a point. Come with your reasoning. Let's have a sensible conversation. And so I think what we've done here as a group is we've found an element of common ground here. We all actually think these types of fouls should be red cards, but we're focusing on a lack of consistency and inconsistency. That's where the conversation should be. So well done, gentlemen. Isn't mental gymnastics just thinking? It is, but people use the phrase mental gymnastics to essentially say that you're going around the houses to find an excuse that doesn't really hold any logic. No one, whether you think it was a red or you don't think it should have been a red, whether you think it was a bad decision or a consistent decision, none of the things that I think Tom Quest or Giuseppe have said are illogical. The reason this conversation exists is because the PGMOL are so shit at their jobs. And I think that's the biggest issue here. Players jumping and competing for a ball and a player gets elbowed in the face is a foul, but not a red card for violent conduct. But the Gabriel one is violent conduct as the same as Kudus versus Van der Ven last year. I think Kudus may have hit him a couple of times. Yeah. It's not always the case, though. But I remember
Kudus threw like 3 or 4 punches at him.
I remember a very famous elbow, England-Croatia. Joe Cole got elbowed so hard in the head, split the side of his head open. I remember that. I thought he was in a bit of trouble, to be fair. Some are meant, and I've played football. Some elbows are... What Jackson did in the Newcastle game was 100% a red card. You could see what he did. It was clean and it was clear. Some people... By the way, what Van Dijk did, again, it hides the intent because you're like, oh, did he mean that or not? Or did he just not see him? But some people are very clever with how. I remember Paul Scholes got sent off once. He didn't even make contacts playing Liverpool, and Alonso was holding his shirt or his arm, and he just turned around, swung, and missed him. Like you can't hide that intent. We won that game 1-0. I think that was the John O'Shea game. Last minute, John O'Shea got the winner in that game. That was a great match. That was. Next question I've got for you guys: fiction or football? I'm going to go to Quest first on this one. Okay. Where's it gone? Oh, I didn't put this one in. That's why I haven't got it ready. I didn't put this one in because I wanted to throw you guys. That's why I did it on purpose. Fiction or football? After yesterday's win, Arsenal are now the favourites to win the Premier League.
Oh my gosh. Fiction or football, yeah?
Fiction or fact?
Nah, I'm going to say fiction. I mean, Liverpool are building an NBA super team over there, so it doesn't matter how many games you win. It's again 6-7 games into the season, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna add context for why I'm saying this. 2-3 seasons ago, I was saying to all my boys, Arsenal are actually gonna do it, and I think they were ahead by like 5, 6, 7 points. I said they're gonna do it. I actually can't believe it. They're gonna do it, and they were all cooking in the group chat. I said, "Nah, boys, they're gonna do it." Then they went away to, I think it was like Southampton, whatever, drop points. Then it happened another 2 seasons in a row. And that's why for me, I'm like, look, for Arsenal, it actually doesn't matter how many games you win. If you don't get to the last game of the season and you're not top and you're ahead, it's not going to matter. So for me, Liverpool, dropping points or not dropping points, that team is sturdy. Even if they drop points to Chelsea, they will be back because they, for me, just have the better outfit as a club. I don't know if you could say they got the best depth, but like player for player, squad wise, they are at it. So I'm gonna say that is fiction. I don't think that Arsenal. I think that Arsenal Newcastle result says a lot about Arsenal in terms of, wow, they still are the team that they were last season. I don't think it says any more about them than they've already done before, because they've been doing this. I've seen them get big results before. They slapped City 5-1. What was it, last year or a year ago? You know what I mean? They made Haaland say stay humble, and for the rest of the season they were struggling. So for me, this is not necessarily any bigger of a result than what I've seen from them before. So I'm just going, Liverpool are still the favourites. They always were the favourites. And at the end of the day, with the pieces they've added to their team, there's going to have to be something cataclysmic for them to fall away in this title race. And I wouldn't say Arsenal are the favourites, but I think Arsenal can win the title. Yes, I do. But it would have to be something crazy to stop Liverpool.
Here's the thing, for me. Bearing in mind, I still think Liverpool are favourites to win the league. But I do think that people are short-sighted when it comes to Arsenal. You just remember last season when, I'm not going to lie, we had a lot of injuries and we didn't have the best season. I think we were a bit mentally fatigued last season. We didn't have the squad depth that we needed. But if you go back the season before, the only reason we didn't win the league is because Man City put together a run that was so insane that even our run, only losing one game and drawing a game, which the game we drew was City, and then we lost to Aston Villa, did not, from the new year to the end of the season, didn't win us the league by 1 point. Because from the beginning to the end of the season, they didn't lose a game, which was a crazy run. Right now, this season, obviously, Liverpool are favourites. Bearing in mind, this is going to be a different season for Liverpool, in my opinion, and we got to wait and see, because I haven't seen this Liverpool team, and I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't seen a Liverpool team in the last however many years win a title race. So now I'm interested to see how Liverpool and this Liverpool team react in a title race. That's why Arsenal need to keep the pressure on them, because the 2 times they've won the league in the last 30 years, they haven't had a title race. They've been clear. Other teams have messed up early doors around them, and they've had a clear run with a clear gap. Now, I agree. When Liverpool have a clear run and a clear gap, they're pretty phenomenal, and they don't really drop points. But every time I've seen them, when it's like real pressure, where it's like, okay, they're right on us, they seem to show some cracks, right? Now, I'm not, obviously, as I said, I still think Liverpool are the favourites for the league. But I think that this Arsenal with this squad, bearing in mind what you've just said about what they've added to their squad, no one wants to necessarily give us the same credit, right? I agree. Liverpool, they haven't clicked yet. Arsenal, we haven't clicked yet, right? We've got Gyökeres in. He's still adapting. We're still adapting to playing with a striker. Same with them and Isak. We have Eze. We have Zubimendi. They have Wirtz. They have Ekitike. Like, we both have a lot of big positions that are actually have changed. So we've got to adapt and we've got to get used to the teams. And we're quite level now. So it's going to be interesting going forward. But for me, the one thing I will say about Liverpool and us, is that I think we have the better squad depth than them. And I think that I don't see Liverpool going an entire season without picking up a few big injuries like last season. Last season, they did get lucky. They did, in the sense of not getting any big injuries, right?
Yeah,
can they do that?
Alisson for 2 months isn't bad at all.
You had Kelleher, which is a Premier League goalkeeper. I'm not having it. He's a great. I hear you, but not when you've still got Van Dijk and all these men. Don't use that as one of the things. For me,
if we want to sit there and say players stayed fit all season,
players
stayed fit all season.
All right, look, you're trying to look. You didn't lose none of your losing him and having Kelleher on the bench is not a huge downgrade. You know, like if you lose any of Van Dijk, Gravenberch, or Salah, it's different, bro. Yeah, bearing in mind, people don't like. I don't want to use injuries as an excuse anymore. I don't. I think we've got the squad to do more enough now. I'll put it to you like this: we lost Saka, Odegaard, and Saliba for about 3 games at the start of the season. Your game included, the Man City game, and Man City game. Saliba was back. A couple other games anyway, right? Now, I look at it like this. Because we've got the squad depth now, which I'm agreeing with, we managed to get something out of a lot of them games, apart from you, the game against you. If you had lost in your first 5 games watching you, if you had lost Salah, Van Dijk, and McAllister, for an example, in them first 5 games, for like 3 of them, I don't think you leave them 5 games with the wins. I don't.
But your guys didn't miss all the first 5 games.
No, but what I'm trying... No, but... Well, Saka missed, what? 3 of the games?
Saka missed us, Forest, and...
Man City.
Did he not come off the bench against Man City? Or am I going mad? He came off the bench against Man City.
This season?
Yeah, he came off the bench against Man City.
I think he came off the bench.
He came off the bench at half time, so he missed 2 games.
Yeah, cool, 2 games. But then we had Odegaard in and out of every game. I don't think he got injured in one, didn't play, got injured in one, didn't play. Saliba was out of a few of the games. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm not even using that as an excuse because we still should have done more in the games we didn't get points in because we have the squad depth. My only argument now is if you lose them players, in your team, I don't know if you have the depth still now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's the only thing I'll say.
So, I'm just looking at it here. Did Odegaard play? No, Odegaard didn't play against City. So I'd be missing out on Van Dijk for 2 games, Salah for 2 games, and McAllister for 3. McAllister's been injured all season and been shit. So I would argue that the way he's played football this season, we would have been better off with Curtis Jones starting anyway. Salah hasn't been great. And the 2 games that they missed were Arsenal, where he did nothing, and Burnley, where he did nothing but scored a pen. So, again, if I had Cheisea starting that game, it's not really the world's biggest difference. The one that would have hurt is Van Dijk.
Yeah.
100% it would have hurt with Van Dijk. Because we would have been, I would have had Canate and Gomez. That's not as good. But I think we could have handled Burnley away with Canate and Gomez? I think we could have done. So again, the injury things, we've not had a long enough time.
Let me jump in for a minute, there, guys. I know we're getting into the injury conversation. I want to try and bring it back to the question that was asked, right? And Tom, let me throw this to you this way. Gary Neville made a massive comment when the equalising goal went in, and then he sort of expanded on it when they got the winner. They got the equaliser, and I think he said, big. 5 seconds later, he says, but teams that win the league go on and win the game now. Now, of course, nobody thinks because they then went on to win it, that guarantees they're winning the league. But how seismic do you think that win could be? The betting odds now have them as favourites. You all saw as well as I did, whether it be the hate-alongs, whether it be the Twitter outrage yesterday, a lot of Liverpool fans saying, we don't even care about Arsenal, they're not even a threat. There was this reaction that demonstrates, at the very least, a significant concern. I won't use the word fear because that really triggers people. But how big and significant a win could that be for Arsenal? They didn't just win. They played fantastically. They were adventurous. To use the quote, the handbrake was off. And they've given themselves a very good base and foundation because I'm not saying you were one of them, but I know on Six Sided, I know on a lot of our Straight Fact shows, that opening 5-6 fixtures were looked at as death for Arsenal's season. United were going to beat them. Liverpool did end up beating them. City were going to maybe beat them. Newcastle away, no chance. It was looked at as by the end of it, there'd be 6, 7, 8 points off top. That hasn't happened. How significant, coupled with the performance, do you think yesterday is for the title race?
It's a big one for Arsenal. It's a big one for them. It's a chance to stick it to all the people that doubted them. I don't think it affects us much. Because ultimately our problem's us. It's we haven't been good enough this season. We have not performed well. I think yesterday was more big for Arsenal because it's a mentality thing. It's we are here to win. We are here to try. We can get over humps. We can do this. We can do that. But the thing, I think I never said something like, "Oh, the Liverpool players watching this will have their heart till it sank." Maybe, but I don't think it'll be like a real sort of, "Oh no, not now," because ultimately we have been miles off where we should be. Again, I've said this on a couple of streams, and people in the comments take it the complete wrong way. This is more of our transition year than last year was, because this is where all the things have changed. The manager's now trying to play a new style of football. The squad has had the overhaul. There was a big tragedy in the summer, which has affected a lot of players. We are going through the transition now compared to last season. The only thing that really changed last year was we changed formation and the fullbacks were told to stop pushing forward as much. Now we're playing with a a 10, which we haven't played with, because Soboslai's not really a 10, he's an 8. We were playing with a new type of 10. We've got fullbacks doing completely different jobs. We've got midfielders got to rotate everywhere. We're trying to be PSG light at points. Everything's changed. We've not reached the level that we're supposed to be at. So the thing that I'm looking at is we need to up our level. Arsenal being there and doing what they've done, I'm hoping that this last weekend of games is the kick up the arse that these players need. And it's a case of, look, it's not going to be a case of, we can just take our time getting adapted and everything. No, because there is a team there that's trying to push it along. So I think it's a big weekend for them, and in a mentality wise and a player belief wise. For us, I don't think I'm looking at that game going, oh no, I'm worried now that this is a real heart drop moment. If we'd not won at Newcastle, I'd feel that way, because then it's how it looks head to head wise. Head to head wise, they've done what we haven't done. They've got a points advantage in that game alone. That's where the worries start to seep in. But I'm not using that game from a Liverpool perspective and being worried about it like that.
Does that not, Tom? Does it not? Because I hear what you're saying. Like, do you not really do you not look at Arsenal and say we haven't been great this season at the start? Like, we haven't started this season all guns, but we haven't been great. The reason why you can't compare the us versus Newcastle and you versus Newcastle is the past 2 seasons we haven't even scored a goal there. We've gone 1-0 down, and people think these guys ain't going to score a goal there again. They're going to lose, and then boom, 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 we win the game. Yeah, the reason I agree with you. It's the same thing I was telling people. Rivals want you to melt down. Rivals wanted us to melt down after we lost to you. Yeah, and then we drew with City. People wanted us to melt down, wanted us to throw the towel and say, Liverpool have won the league. That's it. We can't win the league. It's too early. Even now, I agree with you. It's too early. But what this does for you is now it puts pressure on you to start performing better, because you'll look at that and say, Arsenal can kick on. Bearing in mind, you've got to look at the fixtures coming up. We've got fixtures coming up, very winnable fixtures, very favourable to us because we just had that period. You've got fixtures coming up that are a bit tougher. So that's where I think the Warriors should
I hear you. Can I ask Tom a question, though? The question that stands out for me is, you're not worried about Arsenal, but you're worried about yourselves adapting to the change. I need to ask you a question because I want to make sure I have clarity. Are you saying that if Arsenal do win the league, it's only because you're in transition? Or are you saying that you're in transition and you're worried about that, but Arsenal don't concern you and you'll win the league anyway?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think we're in transition, and there's a real worry that if we don't get out of it soon, Arsenal will win the league. And Arsenal will obviously deserve to win the league at that point, but it'll be a case of we've let an opportunity slip there because we didn't adapt quick enough. I think that if we adapt and get ourselves fully settled in by the November international break, bearing in mind I'm going on the basis that we still haven't adapted, but we're able to get results in the majority of games. If coming by November, I'm seeing that my team have adapted to the style, then I'm confident, because I do think that when we're on it, we're better than Arsenal. That's the way I see it. I just think there's a lot for us which hasn't clicked yet.
But I think you're blind to the fact that we're doing the same thing. Like, I generally think that you think. I get what you're saying. Arteta's been here longer. You want to say that
you're not changing your style of play.
Yes, we are. We've got a striker now. We're playing with
but you're not changing to suit him though. You're not changing to suit him. It's not changed. It's not changed. You went straight Newcastle, yeah. You went straight back to scoring how you normally score. And I'll be honest with you, like, this is the only place where I do think Liverpool fans' arrogance is totally justified. At the end of the day, and I'm not going to say must, right? Because must is unfair. I don't think you must win the league, even though I was that stringent about it at the start of the season, because I was like, the way you lot are talking is crazy. But you actually should at this point win the league, because Tom is right. Liverpool are transitioning, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm seeing signs from Slot where he looks like he's like, if things don't go well, he might lose it. So I've been looking at Liverpool the last couple of weeks, and by the way, I'm the same guy that said that I thought Salah and Van Dijk are finished. I need to apologize. Van Dijk has not gone anywhere. That guy's still the truth. Let me retract that statement expeditiously. Van Dijk, I apologize. But what I will say is this year is you should, because Man City don't look like they were a couple of years ago. Liverpool are transitioning, trying to find their feet. Chelsea are not there. Newcastle, again, you said, oh yeah, but it's a big win. Newcastle are where in the league right now?
Yeah, but
sitting 15th.
Yeah, bro, you don't get it.
Realistically, Giuseppe, can I ask you honestly, how many new? So you signed like 7 or 8 players or something, probably the same amount as us. How many of them are coming and started and are looked at starters?
3.
So
Eze, Zubimendi, and Gyökeres. Yeah, bearing in mind, Noni Madueke for the start of the season started a lot of games, and so did Mascara, which was a new signing. Yeah, cool. Long term, they're not going to be the starters, but I'm talking now. Bearing in mind, I knew this was going to happen after this weekend's result, and I'm not saying you, Tom, I'm not saying you guys, but all of a sudden the narrative's changing that. Because now people are worried and thinking, actually, Arsenal might win this league this season. They're changing the narrative now to Liverpool are transitioning. Don't do that. I hate that. No, but bro, you man won the league. No, because both things can be true. Bro, these man won the league, and when they spent 135 million on one of the best midfielders in the world. Hear that. Hold on, let me finish, bro. I'm not having it. They've gone and sport one of the best, most sought after attacking midfielders in the world and put them in their team. Yeah, and they've gone and bought the best striker in the Premier League. People will say all round. You can say Haaland, but an all-round striker putting in the team, and you're telling me that this isn't the team that should be winning the league. It should
Giuseppe, I no point. Again, this is where we're going because you're now acting like I said we shouldn't win the league. We should.
I'm not saying I said.
But the point I'm saying is the reason why Liverpool's performances haven't been there so far this season is because they're transitioning.
No, the players have been shit.
No, but also hold on. Can I just say this though? Yeah, really quick.
No, but Giuseppe, do you want to know why I disagree though, Giuseppe? Because you know what it was? We played one game this season where we went back to pretty much the same style of football. One game, Everton at home, and Everton at home was probably our best league performance. So it's not a case of the players are shit. Because if the players were shit, they'd have done shit against Everton when we went back to everything that we done last year. But they weren't.
That was a derby game. Of course, you're going to
do you know what the other thing is?
I'm not here.
Go on.
There's got a question, and then we'll come back. What are you going to say, Quest?
No, I was just going to say the other thing is, we can't just keep being mad at people for spending money because they got money. Like, get your money up, bro. That can't be a thing. We can't chuck around because also that is a big excuse to be like, oh, well, everyone's better than us because they spend money. Yeah, but they got money. What do you want them to do with the money? Keep it in the bank account and let it go to waste? You don't do that. That's what you do with money. And you can't use it as a reason to put other people's ambitions down. If you don't have money, spend your money and actually make that title win happen. My issue is then, because I actually think you should win it, and I think you would deserve to win it if you do it this season, because I actually think what you will be doing is doing what you haven't been able to do in past seasons, which you are all saying as Arsenal fan, which is capitalizing. But the other thing is this: you don't get credit for not winning. I'm sorry, we're not giving you credit for pushing people all the way every season. You either win it or you don't. So you can't keep being like, oh no, all these teams should be scared of. Why do we not get credit for narratives? You don't get credit, and narratives happen. Narratives happen because you also do not win, and it's not just not win the title; you don't win anything. So if you want to win something, then you get it back in.
I look at it this way. If we'll come on to our Liverpool in transition in a second. If they are in transition though, and therefore they're not going to be as, because again, correct me if my general view when a reason or an excuse for a team not being as good is they're in transition is literally the definition is they're not as good as they were last year because they're in transition. Am I right to understand that to be
we've not been as good as we were last year because we're in
transition. But when you're in transition, you have a dip. You're having a dip in this season because you're in transition. So from an Arsenal perspective, if that is true, and that's that you aren't as good, you don't win as many games, you lose more, you draw more, you score less, you concede more. It is the opportunity for Arsenal to step in and win the title. That would mean for me, Arsenal would then be better than Liverpool. I still think Arsenal are better than this current Manchester City team, who we've got a super chat about them in a minute to speak about. But I don't think Arsenal should take that. Look, some will try and use it as you only won it because, but you've got to remember this, Arsenal fans. You could win 38 games out of 38, and there'd be a percentage of pundits, media outlets, and rivals that would say, don't you think this is the weakest Premier League season of all time because the team has done that? It's kind of like the default reaction now where someone sets a new record. It's, but you've done it in the weakest era in the history of football since time began type thing. So I don't think Arsenal should take it as an insult. At the end of the day, I would flip it. This is how I would use it. I'd use it as a weapon and say, we had you running so scared. You went out and had to panic in the summer and spend all this money, and it backfired because it put you into a transition period. Yeah, there are ways you can word it, like play with it if you're going to play that game. On Liverpool, though, why only now is the conversation about transition coming up? I have to ask that question because in the summer, I, along with most content creators, was exceedingly complimentary. I've predicted you to win the league. I've predicted you to potentially have a history-making season, multiple trophies being won. I think you've got that good a team, squad, and of course, and when I say team, I mean main 11, squad, and Arne Slot. You've got the best sporting directors, I think, in the country, maybe the world, running your club. Why rarely did anyone, including Liverpool fans, push back against me, just in my world and community I'm talking about here, when I said, I think they'll do this? Why did I get little to no, I don't know about that, Terry, we're going to be in a transition period? Why is it 6 games in, it's now, is it, did you think it would work? And if you thought this amount of signings would work, and now it's a transition period, who are you? Is it a case of maybe you bought too many players? Because wouldn't you have been better only getting 3 or 4, so you weren't in transition, so you maintained your levels, and then another 3 or 4 next summer? Like, where has this kind of come from, in your opinion?
It's come from seeing how it all looks. There was an assumption of how we'd play when these players were brought in, and then seeing how it's actually being put out on the pitch isn't the same thing. So it's a case of, okay, well, we're transitioning because the ideas aren't the same. The manager's changing some things up, the players are changing some things up. The crucial thing I want to say here is I am not going to call this a transition season. I will not accept the fact that we spend 450 million quid and I'm being told it's a transition season. It's a transition period. I want us to be fully acclimatized, fully set up, or back to type by November, because I don't want us to be sitting here in January going, it's a transition season. That doesn't match up for me. I can accept us being in a transition period to start the season, where players are learning different roles, where players are trying to get chemistry with each other, because we've changed 5 or 6 starters, for example. So in that case, I get that. It's a transition period, it's a development period. It can't be a transition season and a development season. The period has to come to an end soon. I'm hoping that the loss to Palace is what brings closer to an end to this transition period rather than a transition season.
If it can't end quickly, right now, gut feeling, who's this on? Is this on Hughes and Edwards for buying
the manager is what I go for.
You go for the manager. He hasn't done a good enough job coaching them.
He's trying to do too much change in my eyes. I think that what happened last year with PSG and the way they played us off the park, especially in the in the Parc de Prince, or whatever it's called.
Parc de Prince.
Yeah, whatever.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Their home stadium. When we played them away and they played us off the park, I think that result and the way they played football has really sort of stuck with him. And he's tried. If you look at some of the buys that we made, it's like we tried to get like the light version. Some players, like Frimpong's a Hakimi light. And when he plays, we're asking him to make these inside runs and sit in this channel that Hakimi sits in. And we want our midfielders to all do the same rotations. That's why Gravenberch, who was the best 6, last season. Yes, he had a good start to the season. But he's played as like a 10 at points in games. And he's our most advanced central midfielder. It feels like we tried to do too much and tried to emulate too much and lost our own identity in that point. That's why I'm hoping the transition comes to an end soon, because he goes, right, let's just do what I've done last year. I'm very good at in-game management and making the right tactical adjustments. But what I need to do is set this team up to get the most out of certain players. And that should be my right winger in Salah, my 10 in Wirtz, my striker in Isak, and my centre-back in Van Dijk. And the rest can all fit and adjust around that, because that was effectively what we done last year. We set ourselves up to be effective around Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, Gravenberch, and Salah. That was what we done. So he needs to go back to that before this PSG experiment kills us. Okay. That's where I'd lay the blame.
Tom, you say about this new player thing, this new players in your team, and that. But then so if I'm going off your game against Crystal Palace, you had 1, 2, 3, 4 players starting in that team that didn't play for you last season. Us against Newcastle this weekend had 4 players starting on the team on the pitch that did not play for us last season. Bearing in mind, 3 of ours did not play in the Premier League at all. two of yours played in the Premier League, so to the one. So if you want to say players playing in the team, you can't use that against us, because I'd understand what you're saying. If we haven't
you've just grabbed one game there.
No, but bro, it's been all. Mosquera's played like half our season so far. Noni Madueke, who didn't play this game, played most of our season this year. Eze's played a lot of the season this year. Gyökeres has played every game.
You've had rotation pieces come in for a couple of games. I'm not arguing that.
What do you think? What do you think has gone wrong with Wirtz? I want to speak about him. Why? Like I know. Is it adapting to the Premier League, or do you think it's Slot hasn't found the right role for him yet?
It's a weird one with Wirtz, because the moments he's shown in games, that he's starting to get into them, a lot of the time he gets taken off. He's best. he struggled to adapt to Ekitike. I think him and Ekitike end up running into the same spots, and Ekitike is just a little bit more suited to the Premier League's physicality at this point, so he's standing out a lot more on that basis. He looks a lot better when he plays with Isak, because that's more of a striker who wants to push the back line back and create a bit of space for Wirtz to work in. But the problem is because Palace, he played him on the left. He's not a fucking left winger. Daniel Munoz had zero problems dealing with him, pace-wise or physicality-wise. And then second half, he moves him into the 10. He starts creating some chances. That's a chance that he misses, which he should really score. Right when he's starting to really get into the game, off he comes. And then the system has to change again. So I think that it's been a bit of a case of the manager hasn't utilised him correctly, and the player hasn't adapted as quickly as we thought he would do. Both of them things need to change sooner rather than later, but I'd like to see him at least in the next game against Chelsea get 90 minutes behind Isak.
So Giuseppe and Quest, what I'm hearing a lot from Tom in the last 10 minutes is Slot out. I think.
The thing is,
you got me.
Slot's great, but are you not thinking that there's any possibility that people are starting to like clock on to Slot a bit more? So he's got to change stuff, because at the end of the day, I've always been a guy that's always said the second season's always harder for a manager than the first season. Kind of seeing that with Maresca, kind of seeing that a bit with Slot. So this is what I'm saying. Is it
not
a transition?
Nah, man's gone a little. I've got a lot of family that are Palace fans, and I was having dinner with them yesterday, and they were like, "Oh my god, we're killing it, we're killing it." I was like, "You seen the news today?" They were like, "What's that?" That Man United might want him. Their faces, they were like, "No,
don't destroy him like that. Don't do that to him."
No, he will. Listen, I read something about him today that made me really, really scared. So. Amorim has been called out a lot for saying that the system isn't the problem. Basically, it's the players and their intensity and the way they behave in the positions. And everyone's like, no, it's you. They could be right. There's an interview from Oliver Glasner that's come out. It's a little old, like it's in like a few months old, where he literally says the systems are irrelevant. The formations are not that important. It's the way people apply themselves when they're in those positions and what they do and how they work. And, you sort of sit there and I'm like, it gave me the willies in the sense of I'm someone that thinks Amorim's got to go now. I don't think he's turning this round. And it could be that he is an absolutely dirt coach. It's all on him. And I kind of hope that's the truth. I actually hope that we've fixed the culture. The squad rebuilding has actually been really good. I hope that we've kept players that are actually of a much higher level than we think. And a new guy comes in, gets them working, fixes us, and we are killing it. And I'll sit there and go, I'm so sorry I doubted it. But I've got this part of me. And I the expression and the phrase I use is I feel a little bit like a turkey that's caught Bernard Matthews smiling at him. And I can't help but think we're going to bring someone in like Oliver Glasner and go, oh, we're saved. And then 6 months in, when we're not winning any games, we're like, oh, why did it go wrong with him as well? Adapt. I hope that isn't the case. But yeah,
one thing, Terry,
second season, he's killing it. Sorry,
one thing I was talking to my mate about the other day, which I said that I've been saying for a long time you should have done. But you know what you haven't done on the recent few managers? You haven't gone for a Premier League manager.
I was looking at the same thing because I just Man United made me very unwell. They made me very unwell. They've made me very sick.
To the point where you support Arsenal.
Yeah, this is all true. Like they made me feel very sick, and it's one of them things for me where it's a bit like not on a real level. It's football. I hate it in the moment, but when I stop streaming and when I stop watching the game and I'm sitting shit, like I did a FIFA career game last night. I did it for 3 hours. I'm not even gonna lie, It's the happiest I've been on stream for
Watch
I actually appreciate it, man. I did feel like an old man. Like
you look like a granddad on there. I'm not gonna lie, man.
I beat Arsenal though. 2-0 at the end of the season. I was really bad in pre-season. I was shitting it. Played Arsenal, Shesko and Baliba. Baliba scored a volley.
For me, it was you looking through the transfers.
That one killed me.
Yeah, do you know what it was? I maybe should have planned what I was going to do before I went live. I just played the game. But that's how you play when you're at home, didn't you? You don't sit there and go, right, who am I going to go? I was sitting there going, shit, who do I buy now? And your mind starts going blank when you're live on the air. Think about players. You're like, who should I go for? And I'm a bit weird when I play. I like players that I know. But yeah, anyway, because I like to run on the game. The point I was making is, what was it? Yeah, no, I'm not very, United made me feel a bit ill. And the thing is, it's like, I've seen the United fans fighting and arguing the last maybe couple of months. You know, I know more ball than you because I turned on. So this is like the funny pattern of it. I'm getting called out by people now that have been hammering out since like May, June. They're like, oh, basically it's, I know more ball than you because you only want him out now. I'm like, I'm not even about wanting him out. I just think he's got to go. I'm not with the out people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not with them, man. And then it's like, well, hang on, what do you mean? What are you calling Terry out for? I wanted him out since March. You've only just joined the party in the last 3 months. What are you talking about? I wanted him out from day one. I know more ball than you. And a lot of the Man United discourse online, when you cut beneath the surface, you scratch a little. A lot of it is just, I was right. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, you are kind of right about this one. But I also remember you, my old pedigree chum, telling everyone that when Rashford leaves, we'll be a great team. When McTominay goes, watch us ball out. Once Fred's gone, this team's going to fly. So this kind of point scoring thing's crazy because I would say United fans, including myself, by and large, we're like, for everything one thing we get right about the progression of our club, that conversation about what's going to progress us, for everything we all get right, I think we're all between 5 to 10 things wrong. And it's not our fault. It's not about ball knowledge. It's we don't control what the club's actually doing. So we only know what they release and then you give an opinion on it. And then it turns out that actually this wasn't true, that wasn't true, or this has happened. Anyway, but I'm really worried about, I actually think that we've got to sack Ruben Amorim. I think he's got to go. I'm a little bit frustrated we haven't done it yet in the sense of I've got this horrible feeling we're going to wait to the Liverpool game. Maybe you wait for the Liverpool game because we'll probably lose it anyway and the new manager gets a bit of a free hit with the fans and that element's important. But I cannot believe he hasn't gone yet. I cannot believe that. My fear is that we're going to do what we did last year, well, actually with most of our managers, leave it too long into the season because the season is recoverable now. But the one thing for me, and people can debate who the new manager should be or not, and I see merit in every debate. I see merit in Southgate. I see merit in Areola. I think there is, and this is the problem. Some people are going to get it right. Some people are going to get it wrong. It doesn't really matter for me because I see the view of if we like crush the expectations by getting a Southgate and we get a manager in that can work with the bang average squad we've got, we might become harder to beat. We might become a team that can win more in the short term as we're building the squad. We go for a more sophisticated, more fashionable manager that gives us hype. If they come in and they don't start well, that hype and that excitement can turn to anger very quickly. You could get that bounce and a great start, and that means that hype and expectation goes through the roof. And then when we settle and level out, because the squad isn't amazing, you get that same, you're a fraudster. You won 5 of your first 6 games. Now we've only won 1 in the last 3, last 4. We're being frauded. I worry about all these permutations because, let's be honest, some people are going to guess right what happens next. The manager, how good or bad we're going to do. But all any of us are doing is pissing in the wind and hoping to get nothing on our legs because all bets are off with Man United because every manager that we've brought in, every new signing that we get, none of it has gone how anybody has really predicted every time. Does that make sense? Like some of us have gone, that ain't going to work, or this is going to work, or this is going to be amazing, or this will be trash. Some are right, some are wrong. But for me, I don't think there is any one football fan, any one journalist who can genuinely hand on their heart, sit there and tell you what I'm telling you, I 100% believe in, and I'm very confident will happen. I can't. My faith has been absolutely blown to smithereens. It really has. And like, I'll hear an argument as to why we should go for Xavi. I'm like, oh, I love that. and then hear a counter argument like we don't have technical midfielders and we have no left wing. I'm like, oh, we're fucked. Like I'm in that kind of mind space where I'm done with it, and I'm at a point where I'm not really going to debate many Man United fans over these subjects anymore, because as I say, they make good points.
Why would you? You're an Arsenal fan now.
Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm out of it. I just find it all a little bit like, how do I put it the right way? It's people. It's like, yeah, I've got some things wrong. I've got some things right as well. And this is the maddest bit. It's like the kicking the can down the road. I remember when Ollie went, and at the time I was like, I don't know if I want him sacked. Why? I'm not sure that we're structured right. And I don't know if the new guy is actually going to make us better or, improve us enough over the next 4 or 5 years. And they were like, no, it'll be fine. First year, we did win some trophies with Ten Hag, but we ended up in the end where I feared us being in a worse position. And then we end up where we are now, and I'm sitting there. I look back, and it's like, so this is the thing this is why I don't want United fans to do the point scoring. Some will say because you don't want to be cooked now. You can't cook me. Me saying I'm going to give a new manager time, and I'm going to stay as patient as possible until 5-10 games into the season when pre-season is done. You can cook me for doing that. It's just my way of being as an individual. I let things play out before I go completely in. You can cook me on that if you want. I'm never going to change that part of my humanity. It's just me. But I don't. It's the point scoring is crazy because I could go back now. So a lot of the YouTubers claiming I was right about Ruben. They're right about Ruben. But you were the same guys that said when Ollie leaves, we're going to go to another level. Look where we are now. So how far back can we go to say you were right or wrong? It just becomes a horrible game. I'm not playing that game. I'm saying just drop that game and let's have actual conversations about our football club and what can improve it. And one thing I agree with Staffy on, as much as Staffy thinks me and him disagree on a lot of things, we don't. It's just sometimes our understanding of the meaning of a word or where it should and shouldn't be used. But I agree. The thing we should really focus on, this should be our main focus as fans, is can we bring someone in? And I agree with Staffy 100% on this. That's why the argument we had wound me up so much, because for me, I don't think it should take more than a couple of months for a manager to come in and get us playing a style of football where we're competitive, competent, and we're not a laughingstock.
I'd find it brilliant if you've got Glasner, by the way, just to see the 3-4-2-1 haters have to try because if it works with Glasner, I agree. Then after that, somebody go, oh, it does work.
I agree.
Terry,
equally, imagine it doesn't work. Imagine it doesn't work, but it's been working for him at Crystal Palace. And
now there's another conversation.
But again, I don't want it. I wish it weren't Man United, because part of me, because when you say this, people think you're not being a fan. But there's this element of me that's like, I don't think we can do what Palace do. We don't have the physicality they do. They've got so much more speed, power, and athleticism, and technical ability in the middle with the likes of Wharton, Gahey at the back. Although we've got some decent centre backs in terms of footballing. But I would almost a part of me would almost love to see it not work with a manager playing the same formation that's making it work in the Prem already, just for the discourse to go, well, let's pick the bones out of that. And the reason why is, I hope I'm wrong and he comes in, and I hope he plays that formation, adapts slightly, and we kill it. And people can go, Terry, you were wrong. There weren't all these deep root-lying issues that were still at the club that used to exist. And I'll be like, mate, I've never been so happy I'll be celebrating. I'll be there. I'm open-minded to being wrong. I don't have an agenda when it comes to this. My fear, though, is being right, actually, not being wrong. I'm not scared of being wrong on this. I'm scared that we bring someone in and it's as bad or only slightly better. And you sit there and it's like, guys, this is what I was trying to say. I know Amorim had to be criticised, but we are again focusing on sleight of hand. We're always focusing here, and whenever the focus is so strong, that part of me is like, I've got to look over there as well, though. There's something over there that's bothering me. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope again that humble pie will taste brilliant because my football team will be good, and that's all I'm in this for, is to talk football, and I hope my football team does well. Sorry, Giuseppe, you were going to say something.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that's why I think you've got to go for a Premier League manager, mate. Because I would look at you and I'd say the one thing you haven't done, the one thing you've done kind of wrong, in my opinion, is you've had players, right? And you've had a team that's a bit like when Arsenal a few years back was a bit, there's toxicity there and all this sort of stuff around the club and that. And what you're asking the manager to do is you're asking the manager to come in and not only address all this stuff, but also transition to playing in the Premier League and adapt to playing in the Premier League, which is not easy, right? That coupled with what you were doing. Now, when we brought in Arteta to use us, he was in the Premier League. He was under Pep Guardiola. I know it was his first job, but he was under Pep Guardiola in the Premier League with a Premier League manager, seeing how the Premier League is, knowing that. So when he come in, you haven't actually had that since Jose Mourinho, which one, he's gone past it, and two, looking back, the seasons that he was there, didn't do too bad. I think second and a couple trophies.
Great point.
Since then, Ollie, Ten Hag, Amorim, all these guys have come from abroad and they've fouled. So that's why I think that
Ollie's unlucky because he was at Ollie's style of football would look even better now. He'd have an even better rep now.
Ollie is a little bit like when I was talking about Southgate. It doesn't need to be Southgate. I'm only using Southgate because he's linked to us. I think an Ollie, Carrick, Southgate, I think a manager of that level could be fine. We shouldn't make the mistake we did with Ollie. He might have even needed the next season. But once that squad was building out to look quite good and strong and we were a top 4 team again, that's when you go, right, we've kind of fixed quite a few bits. Let's bring the next guy in who can take us to another level. So we might need that as an example. But as I say, also my theory is that we do improve short term. And again, everyone does that. Oh, I was right. It'll be that. By the way, it will be those same people because of the arrogance they have, which will be like, but to what ends? Because I still don't see it. Glasner could come in and get us performing amazingly. I still don't see us being more than a top six team, top 8 team until the squad's improved. And hopefully then the fans will say, well, we're winning more games, we're looking better. This have patience now in building the squad out to get to where we want to be. That's my hope. This here says, agreed, tell United need their version of Eddie Howe until the culture is fixed and the squad is ready to play a consistent style first 11 to under 18s. Eddie Howe's a very good. I'd put Eddie Howe in a category above Michael Carrick's and even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he's a better coach. I think he's a better man manager. It won't be him, but yeah. I mean, I'm not. I just want us to get better. I don't want us to just experiment per se, but I want us to be very, very mindful of someone that really can handle this current squad that we've got and the limitations that it has. And again, I don't want us to adapt fully though and just bow down to these players. And where do you want to play, mate? Do you want to track back or do you want to be in a free run? No, we still need to have a regimented nature with an element of adaptation is needed. Almost everyone has been saying no defending EPL champions have added this many top players in the transfer window to go at one go transition. Well, it was something that was thrown at Hassam quite a lot. And Hassam sort of said they'll handle it fine because the core is still there. I'll have that conversation with him on Wednesday on Straight Facts.
I don't think Hassam likes me calling it a transition.
No, he won't.
It's not a transition,
sign one of the best strikers, right backs and left backs around. Being called a transition is a joke.
Failing. They've also changed manager though. They changed manager. Like it's the manager's first season last season, and I think he overachieved. Like
the reason
Arsenal have had the same manager for 6 years.
So why was everyone? So why at the start of the season did everyone say that they're favourites to win the league? Then why didn't people go, they're not favourites to win the league?
I think because they still had the best squad.
Giuseppe, we did going into the start of the season because we didn't have certain players in pre-season. We played the same style of football. So it was a case of, if he's just doing the same thing as that worked last year, it makes sense. Yeah. But going into the season, he's changed things. Yeah. And now I'm sitting there going, he's transitioning certain things. That's going to take some time.
But once again, I'll stick to this argument. It means we're transitioning. Because the style of football, even if you want to say, the style of football hasn't changed for us, but the people in our team have. We've got a striker now that is not a Havertz.
I will be honest here. It's going to upset some of the viewers. I'm hearing Arsenal are not playing in a way yet that's getting the very best out of Gyökeres. That is the definition of what Liverpool fans are saying is their transition, right?
But they had a striker because Havertz was their striker. He's just not the same as Gyökeres.
Yeah, but they were playing Szoboszlai in a 10, but he's not a proper number 10, so they were operating differently, is what Tom said.
Yeah, but it's like, remember as well, when Havertz was scoring, these lot were singing chants, 60 down the drain, whatever. Yeah. So with Gyökeres, it's like it shouldn't really be that much of a change, is what I would probably say.
I also think though, Giuseppe, you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's points in games where Arteta asks Gyökeres to do what Havertz was doing, which is to try and drop in slightly and bring others into the game. And I think that doesn't help getting the best out of them. I'm not against you saying you're in transition, by the way, because you probably are. I just think we're in a bigger one. We're changing a lot more in one go than you are.
That makes sense. This, by the way, I want to read this statement just out from Ben Jacobs. It's such a funny statement to me. It says, Man United are backing Ruben Amorim, but they are also doing succession planning simultaneously. There is support if Amorim gets sacked, then there is support. But if Amorim gets sacked, it will be with a level of reluctance, which is we're putting a list together for your replacements. Win or you fucked off. That's what it means.
Basically, what?
Don't worry, mate. We're supporting you, but we are talking about 5 other people behind your back here.
Yeah.
Derek says it's been a long time since I've watched you live. I'm actually starting to get sick and tired of Man United. I think I should.
United should get Pope.
I'll get Pope as the number 1 goalkeeper.
No,
listen, football team. You'll always go through this with your football team, and the one thing, maybe Man United will never get back to the top or never win major trophies again, potentially. What this does do these periods is if and when you do get back to a very high level, it does make them feel even better. So there is an element of losing that's good can make you feel good in the longer term. But I do get why you feel sick and tired. Never mind, GoFundMe is for an Arsenal fan.
I respect you, Evan.
Do you think Pep will regret selling KDB for experience?
No.
Nah, he was on his way out.
He was on the way out here. Tevin says Arsenal got 8 new players this season, including 3 to 4 new starters. This is somewhat of a transition as well. Tired of hearing this, is what Tevin says. Fictional football. People are sleeping on City this year. When was the last time Pep and City lost a race? When they have been in one, City have already had more injuries than any other team this season.
3 points behind Arsenal, by the way. Like I put them to win it, and everyone called me nuts, and we were saying blah blah blah. I just think, if they keep this up till Christmas, they keep these run results going. I think turn of the year, City could be dangerous.
Yeah, what they've adapted, what they've done is they've changed their style of play, and as soon as I start seeing someone change something, adapt, do something a little different, but maintain an element of their principles, I'm like, okay, I'm reassessing now because I'm seeing something different. But look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. I want to thank the super chatters, everybody who's hit the like button, my panel. It's been an amazing show. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. We're back tomorrow with Killing the Game in the morning. We will then have, it's going to be a very, very good one as well. I found something very controversial out today. You guys are going to love it. Straight Facts in the afternoon, then Champions League full fan highlight shows in the evening as well. Please go and check out Hot Take if you haven't done so already. Actually, no, I'm not doing Killing the Game tomorrow. I'm live with Mark Goldbridge in the morning at 11 o'clock. But you can go and check out that podcast now. Scan the QR code on the screen. Go check out Hot Take right now on Spotify. When you're on Spotify, give us a little 5-star rating, please, and get us followed if you would be so kind. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.